Good evening, and I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's presentation. This is the Woodacres Water Main Replacement Project. We have dubbed it Phase 1 and Phase 2 because of the size of the project. My name is David Hayes. I am Director of Watershed Management, and I've proudly served as your Director of Watershed Management for the last, I'm having a comment, can I hear? Very good. I've currently served as Watershed Management Director for the last maybe going on 4 years now. And I'm proud to serve a team of great professionals who pride themselves in providing services to DeKalb County and providing the highest quality of water, if in my opinion, the country. Next slide, please. So this evening, you're going to hear from me. I'm going to greet you. We also have Commissioner Robert Patrick in here. He's District 1. You're going to hear from Cassandra Marshall. You're going to hear, she is our Assistant Director of our Capital Improvement Program. Mr. Nooks, he is going to be the Construction Inspector of this project. And then you're going to hear from Ms. Alicia Penny. She's going to be our Public Relations Manager. And Ms. Penny, she will field any questions that you may have at the end of this presentation. We request that you put your comments or questions in the chat room so that we can record them and answer them in the order that we are receiving them. Next slide. At this time, I'd like to allow the commissioners that are attending the opportunity to say a word if they'd like to.
Director Hayes, thank you very much for this. Anytime we have an opportunity to communicate and in my mind, really have a conversation with some of the technical staff and yourself included in that, I think that's a good idea or a good thing for the residents. And there's not much of the political component involved and more of the technical. Let's find out how we can fix this issue. So I'm looking very forward to hearing tonight's discussion on what you're proposing, as well as any questions that the residents should happen to have. And thank you very much for that and for your staff.
Appreciate it, Commissioner. Do we have anyone from District 6 here representing Commissioner Terry or any of his staff? If not, I'll be sure to pass this information along to Commissioner Terry. And I'd like to say that it is with the support of this commission that Watershed is able to come out and do this project in this expeditious manner that we are trying to achieve here. We work very well with our commissioners. We have full support from them. And because of them, Watershed has been very successful in improving this antiquated, aged infrastructure. Next slide, please. As I said earlier, I am David Hayes, Director of Watershed Management, appointed by CEO Michael Thurman. And I would definitely, next slide, please, like to share this information with you about our watershed and what we do and how we do it for DeKalb County. And currently, DeKalb County is just over or nearing 800,000 residents, ratepayers. With that, we are providing all water and sewer services. Current production rate for DeKalb County, or demand from DeKalb County, is just at about 70 million gallons of drinking water per day. We have the ability to treat up to 128 million gallons of drinking water per day. Once we deliver that 70 million gallons of drinking water to the residents, ratepayers, and the businesses, it's utilized and it comes back, the used water comes back to Watershed Management for treatment to be reused by someone downstream. We treat just at about 56 million gallons of wastewater per day in DeKalb County. Now, to convey that water back and forth through DeKalb County, both the distribution side that sends the drinking water to you, and then the collection system side that brings that water back to DeKalb so that we can release it, clean it, treat it, and release it back into the community for future use. We're using just that 5,000 linear miles of pipe. It's a lot of pipe. And to put it in context, that's enough pipe to go from DeKalb County all the way to California and back. It's a large amount of pipe in the ground that we're responsible for. And this pipe is aged. We have pipe in the ground, some that are nearing 100 years of age. And it's my team's responsibility now to reduce that age, that liability of this old pipe. And that's what we're doing. We're systematically taking this old infrastructure and trying to renew it. We have put together a master plan, watershed master plan, that was adapted by the board in 2021. And that master plan, it identifies all of the infrastructure throughout DeKalb County. When I say infrastructure, I'm speaking of watershed infrastructure throughout DeKalb County. It identifies the current condition and state of that infrastructure. And with that master plan, we have devised a systematic plan to address the most crucial areas first, with the goal to, again, touch every single part of DeKalb County's water and sewer infrastructure, to renew it, to allow watershed to continue to grow and prosper and provide the service that the ratepayers so demand. Next slide, please. So why are we here today? We have Watershed's own engineering and construction division, who's leading this initiative. They are here to help us correct the problems, and the problem in this particular situation is the aged infrastructure that's causing the concerns or issues here. What we plan on doing is to replace this infrastructure with new. We're going to have the team tell you the exact plan on what's going into the ground. And when we replace this infrastructure, it's going to improve our customer service. And as I mentioned earlier, it's going to allow DeKalb to continue to grow, prosper, and bring more industry and residents to DeKalb for generations to come. Next slide, please. This is the team that our engineering and construction management team is going to lead. You have DeKalb County's own engineering services, who's going to lead AECOM. AECOM is the engineering firm who helped us design the master plan and helped us put together this plan to execute to replace your infrastructure in this particular area. Ruby Collins is going to be the construction team on site doing the actual work in the ground. And again, all of this team is led by DeKalb County's watershed only construction and maintenance engineering group. Next slide. Now you're going to hear from our assistant director of the capital improvement project. She's going to explain to you why we're here and what we're going to do. She's going to give you a large overview of what we're going to do to correct the aged infrastructure on Woodacre. Ms. Marshall.
Thank you, Director Hayes. Good evening. My name is Cassandra Marshall. I am the Assistant Director of the Capital Improvement Projects for Watershed Management. My duties includes overseeing the watershed's $2.4 billion capital improvement program and also managing the construction management staff. In the next few slides, I will provide an overview of the system problems and our solution to repairing the aging water system. Next slide. Well, the problem is the infrastructure in this area is age, which cause excessive water main breaks and operational issues. The infrastructure in the area was installed in the 1950s and 1960s. The pipe material consists of cement, PVC, galvanized pipe, and cast iron pipe. The lifespan for these pipe is 70+ years. Therefore, they are all near the end of their useful life. In the case of the 2-inch pipe undersize, It is causing operational deficiencies where we have the 2-inch galvanized down a couple of streets. Also in this area, the county has been faced with 62 water main breaks from 1985 to 2023. We've also had complaints about brown waters and low pressure issues from 2017 to 2021. Brown water is an indication of sediment or rust accumulated in the water main over time. It can be also present after a water main break, which stirs up the deposit in the pipe. Due to the amount of calls and concerns, DWM is moving forward with prioritizing this project to the top of our pipe replacement plan. Next slide. So I want to give you a little background of all of the components in the county water system and what it takes to analyze and prioritize what gets done first. The county has over 3,000 miles of pipe in the water system to maintain and provide drinking water to the ratepayers. We also have 4 pressure zones, 21 water storage facilities, 16 pumping stations, and 6 pressure regulating stations. As you can see, this is a large system to maintain. Most of the system is aged and cannot be repaired or replaced all at once. Therefore, the county had to develop a best practice way to evaluate and prioritize how and when the piping will be replaced. The first objective was to model the system. In 2019, the county developed its first hydraulic model. A hydraulic water model is a computer simulation of the water system. The model can be a big picture look at how the system should function and how it's functioning when you're having issues. For example, it provides details such as system pressures, available water at fire hydrants, and how the tank levels affect the system. To develop the model, we use the county GIS system, metadata of water usage from the billing system, system facilities data as the water storage facilities and regulation station. Field testing was conducted to validate the data, and then the model was calibrated based on SCADA and field tests. The data was ultimately used to develop the county master plan and used to prioritize projects. Next slide. So to this point of the presentation, you've heard about the problem. I will now speak about the solution and the execution of the CIP plan. So what does CIP stand for? CIP, or Capital Improvement Project, is a project that helps maintain or improve an asset. It can either be new construction, an expansion, renovation, or replacement of an existing infrastructure. In 2021, the Board of Commissioners approved the new CIP program for $2.4 billion for projects to be completed between 2021 and 2030. On behalf of Watershed Management, the department is grateful to all of the commissioners who are partly responsible for the approval of the CIP plan. Thank you, Commissioner Patrick, and thank you, Commissioner Terry. The Woodacres Water Main Replacement Project is a $6.9 million project that is included within that CIP plan. My team, the CIP team, is responsible for getting the work done. My team includes 4 DWM construction managers, 12 licensed inspectors. Next up in the presentation, you will also hear from the DWM construction inspector, Mark Nooks. He will be your primary contact for any issues or complaint for this project, and he has over 20 years plus of construction experience. Along with in-house staff, we are also supported by consulting firms who help assist the county with construction management and inspection services. What we want you to know today is we're here to help. We want to reduce or eliminate emergency repairs. We want to stop the breaks. We want to protect the environment. And finally, after this project is complete, it will improve the sustainability to the system. These improvements should last a minimum of 100+ years. You will now hear from Mr. Mark Nooks about the project scope and overview.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Mark Nooks, and I am the Senior Construction Inspector assigned to the Woodacres Water Main Replacement Project. On the following slide, I will discuss the scope of the upcoming work planned for your neighborhood. Next slide, please. The planned work includes installing nearly 12,000 linear feet of 8-inch ductile iron pipe water main, including service lines, hydrants, valves, pavement restoration, and setting water meters to grade. The trench will be milled and one lane resurfaced once the new water main installation is complete. The existing 6-inch water main will be abandoned in place and filled with a non-shrink grout. The site conditions will not be altered from the existing. However, all disturbed pavement and landscape will be replaced in kind. Erosion control BMPs and tree protection will be installed throughout the entire water main alignment. No more than 1,000 linear feet of trench will be open at one time and must be filled and covered daily. Next slide. So we estimated approximately 100 to 150 residents that will be impacted. The red line on the map represents phase 1, and phase 1 includes Battle Drive, Jordan Terrace, Malabar Drive, and parts of Wentworth and Woodacres. Then phase 2, represented by the blue line, indicates that the streets that we would include are Capehart Circle, Dover Hill Place, Rhineland Court, and also parts of Wentworth and Woodacres. Next slide. Now let's discuss the method of the construction. Next slide. The method of construction is defined as the open cut method. The open cut method consists of cutting the asphalt, digging the trench, and installing the new water main, backfilling the trench, and also replacing the asphalt. Next slide. Now, the duration of the project is as follows. Community notices sent out in April 2024. We also staged 2 message boards, one at the corner of Battle Drive and Claremont Terrace, and the second at the corner of Capehart and Woodacres Drive. Preparation and mobilization started on April 29th, 2024. We have a few crews out there now doing some temporary surveys, finding utilities, and getting prepared to get started for the construction start of May 2024. The final restoration, which includes the asphalt paving, will be sometime around March 2025, and the end of construction will be in May 2025. Now, let me note, these are tentative dates. Depending on the weather and unforeseen site conditions, the dates could change. Next slide. My team and I are the first line of contact for the project. From the first day of construction start, my team will be on site to ensure that the construction activities, which includes ensuring that erosion and sedimentation controls are in place, ensure that the contractor is installing the pipe according to the contract documents, drawings, and specifications, and also ensuring that all safety measures are in place. Once the project starts, you will see that we will have traffic control out there. I've been out there in the neighborhood, and there's a lot of winding roads, and the roads are kind of narrow. And we'll have flaggers out there directing the traffic so that everybody can get in and out of their properties, in and out of the neighborhood as effectively as possible. Again, as I mentioned before, all trenches and holes will be backfilled and secured for the day. Next slide. Now, we've reached out to the property owners whose property will directly be impacted by the construction activities, and we have reached an agreement on restoration. Overall, the construction team will ensure that this project is completed and all property will be restored. The picture to your left, it depicts a typical construction site or work zone. As you can see, there's the trench. We've compacted the GAB. And the picture to your right shows how the property would be restored in kind or better. As you can see, it's half of the road with asphalt. I would like to take this time to thank you for your time. And now I will turn it back over to Ms. Cassandra Marshall, who will discuss the community awareness.
Thank you, Mark. Next slide, please. So what to expect? Well, unfortunately, what comes with construction are inconveniences in which the county wants to try to minimize. What you're going to see is a lot of construction traffic, foot and vehicles, large dump trucks, and heavy equipment. There will be construction workers, county employees, and contracted workers throughout your community. There will be material and equipment deliveries by means of large tractor trailers. However, the crews and flaggers will guide these large vehicles in and out of the community. What also comes with working in the area is the parking issues. There will be vehicles parked alongside the streets and along the work zones. Work zones will be clearly delineated by means of orange cones or barrels. In addition, as a security measure, all county contractors and county employees will have an identification badge and marked vehicles. There will be increased noise from the equipment backup alarms, heavy equipment usage, and saw cutting of the asphalt. Our typical work hours are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekend. Residents will all have access to their driveways during construction, and notifications will be distributed prior to any water service disruption. One last item, you will see silt on the streets. If dust or silt is tracked on the street, the contractor will be responsible for keeping the streets clean and swept daily. Next slide. So this is about the construction notices and signs that we put out. The sign at the bottom left of the screen is an example of a sign we require our contractors to install prior to starting work in the area. These signs are to be placed in the view of line of traffic and on every street impacted at a minimum of 72 hours prior to start of construction. On the bottom right is an example of a generic county contractor sign that is placed on unmarked company vehicles. Other vehicles will have their company's logos. All cars on the county's project site must be marked and identifiable as a security measure. Next slide. Message board, as Mark said earlier, we've put out some message board. The message boards are located at the corner of Battle Drive and Claremont Terrace and Cape Heart Circle and Woodacres Drive. Next slide. You will now hear from Ms. Alicia Penny about public communications.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Penny, and I'm the Public Relations Manager for the department, and I am responsible for all communications from the department for our capital improvement projects, as well as any other activities for the department. Next slide, please. Ahead of tonight's meeting, you should have received a letter, such as the one that is shown here, notification letter, letting you know, informing you of the construction and the project, as well as tonight's meeting. Going forward, you will receive either a letter that's shown here or a door hanger that will indicate our next activities for the project. You can expect to receive that within 48 to 72 hours ahead of any activities or any new activities on the project. Also tonight, we ask that you please provide us with your email addresses in the chat because that will be another way that we can communicate with you, especially if we have any emergencies related to the project. And if you would take the time to provide us with your emails, we would be very much appreciative of that. Next slide, please. The ways that we will connect with you. We have a project hotline, which is set up, and I will provide that number shortly. Also, we will have a dedicated web page. That page will be up and running by the time that the construction actually begins on the project. So we expect to have that up within the next week. We'll have a dedicated page for the website. On that page, you will find contact information. You'll find a link to this presentation as we use social media. We use Twitter and Facebook. We also use news releases as a way to get information out, and as well as Nextdoor, which is one of the ways that we used for tonight's meeting. Other ways, as you will hear, as was previously discussed, we have message boards that have been placed, and they will communicate any critical things about the project that you need to know. And finally, we will utilize the county's newsletter, which is entitled The Relay, to share information about the project. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, we do have a dedicated project hotline for all of our CIP projects, and it's listed here. We also have an email address, and you can expect to hear the actual phone is not one where you can speak to someone immediately. It's one where you do leave a message and the call is returned. But we guarantee that you will receive a call back within 48 hours of providing that message to us. Also listed here are some key contacts for the project, names and email addresses and phone numbers. And finally, if there's an emergency related to the project, we ask that you utilize our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency dispatch line. And that number is listed here. The number is also on the front page of the website. And that's if something happens outside of normal business hours, it's an emergency, please let us know by contacting dispatch. Next slide, please. And with that, this completes this part of our presentation. We thank you for your time this evening. I do see several questions in the chat. I'm going to go back up to the first questions and start there.
So I would like to say, Ms. Penny, before you start with the chat,
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everyone providing their email addresses in the chat. That's great for us. That allows us, again, another avenue to keep you apprised on what's going on this project. Thank you for that. And I want to give a great thanks to the team who presented here this evening. I want to stress to the community that this aged pipe, it is a historical issue with DeKalb County. It is not the fault of the team that's here, but we understand the issues and we are dedicated to correct this situation. This team, they stopped what they were doing on other projects to put together this project so that we can address the concerns that have been coming out of this community. We understand that you've had issues with water quality. No one wants to have tinted brown water coming from their faucets. And we made it priority to address this situation. And so, again, I'd like to really thank my team for stepping up and making this happen as quickly as it's happening. And this is a sign of our dedication to this community, a sign of our dedication to our profession. We want to be industry leaders here. With that being said, Ms. Penny, can you now start to...
David, if I could interrupt just 1 second, I have to sign off for another meeting. but I
Sure.
wanted to compliment you and your staff. Very professional, very, very informative, much appreciated. You and I had texted back and forth, and you had shared that I believe you had obtained a right-of-way permit from the city of Chambly. So that they're also engaged and they're aware of this project as well. And it is a significant project. There have been several residents that have been reaching out to me myself. And I see Mr. Jordan Fox's contact information here, and I want to assure you that Jordan has been one of the people that have been advocating for this project, and happy to hear any concerns that he happens to mention or the other neighbors. And as well, if there are any other concerns beyond water and sewer, please let us know. Happy to help out. And you always have my contact information, so I do appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Have a great evening, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank
All
you.
right, Director Hayes, the first question that I see is a big question from neighbors. Who will let us know when water will be shut off during the project, and how much advance notice will we be given?
It's a great question. So what we're doing here on this project, we are installing an entirely new water line. We're not going to disturb the existing water line until it's time to decommission. What that means is we're going to lay this new water line down. We're going to sanitize it. We're going to pressurize it. We're going to verify that it is ready for service. Once we get that line in ground and ready for service and charged, we will then, one by one, resident by resident or house by house, make connections. The team will put a flyer on your door in advance, a day or two in advance, saying, hey, tomorrow we're going to disconnect you from the old service and reconnect you to the new service. That connection process typically takes between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on situations and circumstances, but it's not a long-term outage, and it's not a broad outage. It's house by house that we go and make those individual connections to the new service.
Mr. Hayes, can I add on to that?
Mr. Alex?
Yes, this is Alex from Ruby Collins, the contractor that's doing the job. Mr. Hayes, you are completely 100% right. I just want to tell everybody that if you guys have any problems with any of our guys coming forward, just talk to our superintendent, Chris Sane, and we'll take care of it from there. I don't want any problems from the homeowners. I don't want them out of service or anything like that. So I just want to keep on moving forward from us laying pipe and everything like that. And Mr. Hayes, you are completely right. It's going to be 30 to an hour with the services cut off and everything like that. I just wanted to update you guys on that and everything like that.
I appreciate that input, Alex. Thank you. Next question, please, Ms. Penny.
Okay, the next question I see here is all work on one side of the street, and which side?
I'm going to allow either Alex or the construction manager to take care of that.
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead and Mark, sorry.
Okay, so all work is just going to be done on one side of the street, and that's where we are going to be installing our new 8-inch ductile iron pipe. So we're going to go ahead and make the trench. We're going to go ahead and lay the pipe. We're going to go ahead and after lay the pipe, we're going to go ahead and build it up with GAB for a good foundation. And then we put the asphalt on top of that. So it's only going to affect the side of the street where we're laying the pipe.
And which side is that, Mr. Nook?
To caveat off Mr. Nook, it's going to be, it's probably the right side of the road. Which is going to
odd number,
probably, I would say, 8 to 10 inches off the road granted, we still have to have a trench 4 to 5 feet for us to lay the ductile pipe. So I am saying we'll take up roughly to be safe, I'm gonna say 18 inches or 4 to 5 feet from the curb to the middle line, the yellow line, where we're gonna be working, but we will, like Commissioner or Mr. Hayes said, we'll GAB it every night and everything like that. So, and we're gonna try to be out of the road by 4 o'clock for you guys. So
Is this the odd number side or the even number side of the road, Alex?
it's going to be, let me check 1 second. It is going to be the even side, sir.
Even.
Yes. It's going to be, as you go northbound towards Battle, it's gonna be the right side.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Ms. Penny.
Okay, the next question we have here, per the map, part of the project area, phase 1, goes through 2335 Woodacres Road. This is the land Chamblee has purchased for the new South Chamblee Park. I have mentioned this to the Chamblee Parks Director, but has anyone from DeKalb reached out to the city of Chamblee about this planned construction?
We have communicated with Chamblee. We have had to request a permit in order to go through the Chamblee roadway, Chamblee's city. And so it is our duty and responsibility to make sure that we allow Chamblee to know what we're doing and what's going on. So the team will continue to communicate with Chamblee, and Chamblee and DeKalb have partnered with this project. Next question, please.
Okay, the next question is, can others who could not make the call send their email addresses to projectinfo@dekalbcountyga.gov to get notifications? And the
Yes.
answer to that is yes, absolutely yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. I live on Wentworth Drive. Are you going to move my rows when you work?
A rose.
The rose bush? Yeah.
Yeah, so the project is primarily in the roadway. We should not have to go into your yard other than to access your meter and swap your meter from the old line to the new line. We don't anticipate there being much of work going on in the grassways or in your yard. Again, most of the work is going to be out on the street, on the curb. Next question, please.
The next question is, how do we know where our connection point is? And I think it was more so wanting to know what side of the street, which I believe we've answered that question.
Your connection point is your water meter, and from your water meter, your renewal or your service line goes from the street, depending on what side of your house is on. The current line only goes down one side of the roadway. So if you're on the same side of the road as the pipe, you have a direct connection. It's a short service. But if you're on the opposite side of the road as the service pipe, then we consider that to be a long service, and your service will have to be pulled from the from your meter over to the new service or the long side. Next question, please.
And someone asked, right, going which way? And they said that this is not clear.
So yes, as Mr. Alex, when he said right, he was speaking with the map oriented north. So if you're looking at a map, So he's clarified that that should be the even number side. So if we're not exactly straight this afternoon with that or correct with that, please know that if the map is facing north, we're talking to the right side as you're going north on the map.
Okay, the next question is there a way to get more notice than a door hanger in case water might be out? I'm sorry, in case we might be out of town.
Typically, because it's such a short outage, we notify only by door hanger. You can see us on your road before the outage, so you'll know us, know that we're on your road and coming up near you very soon, because it's systematically the way that we connect, disconnect and reconnect the houses. So I'll ask the team if there's any way outside of the door hanger that we may be able to advise you of the short outage, but right now that's our primary way of communicating with you, that your meter is next up for reconnection to the new line.
Mr. Hayes, the caveat off that, to be honest, will be disconnected and reconnected within an hour, that earlier. So, like Mr. Hayes said, we'll be moving up the line on the road. So if you see our guys RC truck going up, we'll probably disconnect your line for an hour and then reconnect it. I just wanted to bring that point on.
Thank you for that, Alex. Appreciate it. Next question, Ms. Penny.
Okay, it says if you're heading towards Battle Drive, that's on Jordan Terrace. So even side work would be on Jordan Terrace. Work on Woodacres has mostly been on the odd side of the street. Need clarification on what side of streets like Woodacres. Why would it not be both sides of each street?
It wouldn't be both sides of the street because we leave the existing water main in place. We don't touch the existing water main. We come in with a brand new water main in a completely different trench than the existing water main. Once the project is complete, once the new water main is in service and you're connected to it, the team will then put a flowable fill grout in the old main and decommission that old main. So there's no need to interrupt the entire streetway.
Can I add to that, Director Hayes? A lot of the streets, we probably have not determined where the pipe will go. That's what we do up front when we're doing the potholing, calling in the utility locates. We try to choose a side where it has less utilities already installed. So they're in that preparation stage, still trying to figure a lot of these things out. So I just want everybody to be clear that that's not exactly determined today. It's determined as we go, and we're calling in locates and potholing, trying to find where the existing utilities are.
Thank you for clearing that, Ms. Marshall, for clarifying that. And again, we are moving very expeditiously on this. This thing is happening in real time because we heard your comments, your concerns, and we are doing this. We're working on this real time to get this thing moving. As they mentioned, locates have just been out there or still possibly going out there in certain areas. So she's exactly right. There are obstacles, fiber optics and things that we can't get around. It makes sense that we can't run the pipe where those things are, and we will have to adjust accordingly. So I appreciate that clarification, Ms. Marshall. Thank you.
Mr. Hayes, can I caveat off that?
Yes, please, sir.
And we've already located that the gas main is on the left side going northbound towards
Okay.
Battle. And whenever you lay water pipe, you don't want to be on the same side as the water.
That's
So
the gas.
gas. So we've already determined Atkins that on the right side of where the current water meters are. We're gonna go ahead and go on that side in the street. So so that we're not conflicting with the gas.
Gas line.
And that's an update for you guys and the homeowners. We are going to be on the right side because we don't want to conflict with the gas main. We don't want to touch gas and everything like that, sir.
Very good. Thank you. And again, I ask for your patience as we're doing this. We're doing this real time, but we're doing this with best practice, and I have our A team on the ground. So please rest assured that you're in great hands, and we will communicate any changes or anything that any obstacle or hurdle that we come up against. So we ask for your patience. Next question, please, Ms. Marshall, Ms. Penny.
There is a question. It says, so no work must be done on my property from the road to the meter?
Correct. There's very little work that needs to be done in the yardway. Is it absolutely 100% no work? I can't say that to be true, but for the most part, most of this work is in the roadway, and we're only coming to your yard to the meter and not beyond in most cases. Next question,
Okay.
please.
That looks to be the last question that I have here. Wait, there is another question. So do you need to dig from the street to the meter?
Would you answer that, Mr. Alex?
Let me take that if you don't mind,
Sure,
Director
Mr.
Hayes.
Hayes.
We'll basically shoot a missile from where the meter is over to the water main. So there's very little minimal ground disruption that'll be done in your front yard. They'll be digging up the meter box itself, real close to that. But for the most part, that pipe will be shot with a little missile, a little torpedo that just kind of bumps in under the ground. You never know. No digging up from the main to your meter. So the bullet just kind of pops out where the meter is, and they'll pull the copper pipe back through as they pull the missile back. And then that way you've got a service that goes from the main to your yard without having to cut across the road at all these locations, nor do we have to dig up very much of your yard. So it's very minimal impact in front of and around your meter.
Thank you for that, Mr. Bale. So I do see another question. Why will we only pave one side of the roadway? The answer to that question is watershed. We're in the business of installing and maintaining the water main there. We disturb only what's necessary to service or replace our infrastructure, and we repair that area of our infrastructure only. The only area that we've disturbed. That is what's in our budget. That is what we can pay for. We are paving half the lane in this community because we realize and understand that these roads are somewhat freshly or newly paved. They're less than 5 years of paved. And because they are less than 5 years of paved, typically we try to get ahead of the game and pave before, put pipe in before the roads are being paved. We want to work with the cities and governments to do that. But this road was already paved, and it was not on our schedule to put this water main in this early. We are now putting this water main in because of the concerns and issues that we've had in the area. So we put this ahead of our schedule. It's unfortunate that the road has just been paved less than 5 years ago. But because it's been less than 5 years, we are going to do half the roadway. That is what our budget will allow. We are not in the business of paving roads. And if we were to pave the roads, we could not replace and maintain the water system. It's just not, it's not doable on the budget, on the rates that we currently have. So I hope you understand, and I hope that answers your question. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for your attendance this evening. This meeting has been recorded. It will be posted on our site. It will be posted on YouTube, and there will be a link to this on the website that's going to be dedicated to this project.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Hayes. Are y'all taking questions right now? I joined in late.
We were taking questions. Yes, ma'am. Do you have
I'm a resident of Jordan Terrace in Flakehill Forest, and I'm pretty excited about this project. I was asking if we run into issues, what would be the most effective way to contact the county? And if we have like a touch point person in our neighborhood or somebody that is, sometimes in big counties, the bureaucracy is hard to get in touch with somebody, who would be like the point person to contact if,
Yes, Ms. Fields.
we run out of water or something?
I appreciate your question, and if you have missed this meeting, all of this recording will be posted, and you can grab all that information on the website and on the project hotline. But here that you're seeing, this is the project communication number, the 1108-800 number. If you call and leave a message there, someone will reach you. If it's urgent that you need someone, Cassandra Marshall, she is the Assistant Director of the CIP. Her number is listed here. And the two project managers, Mr. Amasquita and Mr. Nooks, their numbers are listed here. Those two people will be boots on the ground with the contractor daily, and you can contact them there. If it's an emergency, the number down below, that is our 24/7 dispatch number. Please utilize that number to report any emergency work, especially if the team is not out there because it's after hours, and you can communicate any of your concerns at that 770-270-6243 number. That is your emergency contact number. But again, Mr. Amasquita and Mr. Nooks, they will be your point people on the ground where you can communicate concerns and issues to in real time, day to day. I hope that answered your question, Ms. Steels. Thank you for that question.
Absolutely. Have a great evening. Thank you for everything. We're excited about this project in our neighborhood.
It is our pleasure to bring this project to you. We hope that this project will go as smoothly as projects can go. My team is dedicated to getting this project to the finish line on time and on budget. And it is our intent to communicate with you to keep you updated on changes or things that are going on the process of, the progress of this project as it goes out. So please be patient while we struggle through this time of construction, and know that we are in this with you. We are a team. I appreciate you again. Have a great evening, and we'll look forward to a successful project. Thank you, team, for your time this evening, and let's